The vast emptiness of space was shattered by a burst of light that rippled across the detection arrays of the Imperial Forward Base Station X-742. Captain James Miller, a veteran officer of Earth's United Defense Force, stood at attention as the quantum transmission completed its journey across 20 light-years of space. The message was simple, but its implications would shake the foundations of the galaxy's most powerful empire. This is a formal warning from the Sol System Defense Coalition. Any further incursion into human space will be met with immediate and overwhelming force. We are not interested in joining your empire. Stay away. 3 months earlier, humanity had their first contact with the Galactic Empire. It wasn't the peaceful meeting anyone had hoped for. An Imperial scout ship had appeared at the edge of the solar system, broadcasting demands for Earth's immediate surrender and integration into the Empire. The ship's captain had been shocked and his demands were met with silence, followed by a demonstration of humanity's defensive capabilities. The scout ship had barely escaped, its hull scarred by weapons that shouldn't exist in what the Empire considered a primitive system. What they didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for over a century. Since the discovery of the first alien artifacts on Mars in 2087, Earth's nations had united under a single banner: survival. The artifacts had contained a warning about the Empire's expansion and its policy of forced integration. Instead of fighting among themselves, humans had channeled their resources into developing technologies that could defend their independence. Captain Miller remembered the day they tested the quantum shield generator, a device that could create an impenetrable barrier around an entire planet. He had been there when they successfully deployed the first fleet of AI-assisted stealth ships, vessels that could strike from anywhere in the system without being detected. But their greatest achievement was the Terminus Protocol, a last-resort weapons system that could destabilize the fabric of spacetime itself within a targeted region. It was this development that gave humanity the confidence to send their warning to the Empire. As Miller watched the message's confirmation ping return, he thought about the coming days. The Empire had never received such a direct challenge from a lesser civilization. Their response would determine whether humanity's preparations had been enough. "Sir," his second-in-command, Lieutenant Robert Drake, called from his station. "We're detecting unusual activity at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Multiple spatial distortions forming." Miller nodded grimly. They had expected this. The Empire wouldn't take humanity's defiance lightly. But they were ready. Years of preparation, technological advancement, and unified purpose had led to this moment. "Alert all stations," Miller ordered, his voice steady and confident. "Begin Phase 1 of the defensive protocol. Let's show them why they should have heeded our warning." The klaxons began to sound throughout the station as humanity prepared to face its greatest challenge. The next few hours would determine whether they would remain free or become just another conquered system in the Empire's vast collection. The game of cat and mouse was about to begin, but this time, the mouse had teeth. The Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace in a dazzling display of power. 12 massive warships, each the size of a small city, positioned themselves in a perfect battle formation. Their golden hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight, a sight meant to inspire awe and fear. Admiral Victor Stone watched the enemy fleet through the reinforced viewport of Earth's defense station. Unlike the Empire's gaudy displays of wealth and power, human military installations were built with pure functionality in mind, dark, angular, and nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. "They're broadcasting, sir," announced Communications Officer Lisa Reed. "The message is being transmitted on all frequencies." The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a tall, humanoid figure dressed in ornate military regalia. Admiral Stone had to admit, the Empire certainly had a flair for dramatic presentations. "Primitive species of Sol System," the Imperial commander began, his voice dripping with condescension. "Your defiance is noted, but meaningless. The Empire spans 10,000 star systems. Your resistance is futile. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Continue this foolish stance, and we will reduce your worlds to ash. Stone allowed himself a small smile. The Empire's intelligence on Earth was severely outdated. They still thought humanity was divided, fighting among themselves with primitive weapons. They had no idea what a unified human race was capable of. Battle stations, Stone ordered calmly. Initiate defense pattern Alpha. Let's show them what primitive looks like. Across the solar system, humanity's true military might emerged from its hiding places. Thousands of stealth satellites deactivated their cloaking fields. Massive defense platforms shimmered into existence around Earth, Mars, and the major colonies. The quantum shield generators hummed to life, creating an invisible but impenetrable barrier around each human settlement. The Imperial commander's expression shifted from smugness to confusion as his sensors detected the suddenly appearing defenses. Before he could respond, Stone opened a channel. "This is Admiral Victor Stone of the Sol System Defense Coalition," he announced firmly. "We gave you a warning. You chose to ignore it. Now, let us demonstrate why that was a mistake." With a series of precise commands, Stone activated humanity's first line of defense. Hundreds of AI-controlled interceptors launched from hidden bases across the asteroid belt. Unlike the Empire's massive ships, these vessels were small, fast, and incredibly maneuverable. Each one carried weapons specifically designed to counter Imperial technology. "Impossible," the Imperial commander sputtered as his sensors registered the approaching swarm. "Your species shouldn't have this level of technology. The last survey showed." "Your last survey was wrong," Stone interrupted. "Humanity hasn't been sitting idle. We've been preparing for this moment for generations. This is your final chance to retreat. The next demonstration won't be so gentle." The Imperial fleet's formation wavered as the human interceptors approached. Their energy weapons, designed to target large capital ships, proved nearly useless against the small, agile craft. The interceptors, meanwhile, began systematically dismantling the Imperial ship's defensive shields with precisely calculated quantum disruption beams. "Sir," Officer Reed called out, "they're charging their main weapons. Looks like they're planning to target Earth directly." Stone nodded. He had expected this. The Empire always resorted to brute force when faced with unexpected resistance. "Activate the Aegis system," he ordered. As the Imperial ships fired their planet-killer weapons, a series of satellites around Earth lit up. The incoming energy beams struck an invisible barrier and simply vanished. The Empire's most powerful weapons had been absorbed and redirected into the quantum shield network, actually strengthening Earth's defenses. The Imperial commander's face had lost all color. For the first time in perhaps centuries, the Empire faced an opponent who wasn't just ready for them, but had specifically prepared to counter their every advantage. The game had changed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Imperial commander's humiliation turned to rage. In 3,000 years of expansion, no species had ever dared to challenge the Empire so boldly, let alone succeed in countering their military might. He would not be the first commander to fail against a primitive world. "Launch all fighters," he ordered through clenched teeth. "Deploy the cybernetic combat units. I want those human defenses broken." Thousands of Imperial fighter craft poured from the hangars of the 12 warships, filling space with a swarm of deadly machines. Behind them came the Empire's dreaded shock troops, massive battle robots equipped with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. Admiral Stone watched the deployment with calculated interest. "They're following the exact pattern described in the Mars artifacts," he commented to his bridge crew. "Time to show them our second surprise. Lieutenant Reed, signal the Jupiter Defense Force." From behind Jupiter's largest moons, humanity's heavy combat fleet emerged. Unlike the small interceptors, these ships were built to match the Empire's capital ships in size and firepower. But they carried something the Empire had never seen before, hybrid AI pilots merged with human consciousness. The development of safe AI integration had been humanity's greatest breakthrough. By combining human intuition with machine precision, they had created pilots and crews that could outperform any purely organic or mechanical system. Imperial forces, Stone broadcast on all frequencies, your tactics are outdated. We've studied your combat patterns for a century. Every move you make is predictable. As if to prove his point, the human fleet split into precise formations, each designed to counter specific Imperial tactics. The hybrid crews reacted with impossible speed, their ships moving in perfect coordination. Imperial fighters found themselves caught in carefully planned crossfires, while their robot troops were systematically isolated and disabled. Impossible, the Imperial commander raged as reports of losses flooded his command center. No species can advance this quickly. You must have had help. No help, Stone replied calmly. Just determination. When we found evidence of your empire's existence, we understood we had two choices, submit or prepare. We chose to prepare. Everything you're seeing is the result of human ingenuity and unity. The battle continued to unfold across the solar system. Imperial forces, despite their superior numbers, found themselves constantly outmaneuvered. Their traditional tactics, refined over thousands of years of conquest, proved useless against an enemy that had specifically prepared to counter them. But the Empire had one more card to play. The Imperial commander activated his final weapon, a device capable of disrupting all electronic systems within a star system. It had ended resistance on countless worlds, reducing advanced civilizations to pre-industrial levels in seconds. Let's see how well you fight without your precious technology, he snarled, triggering the device. The pulse spread across space, reaching for Earth's defenses. But instead of the expected shutdown, something strange happened. The pulse seemed to hit an invisible wall, then reflected back toward the Imperial fleet. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for that too? Stone asked, allowing himself a small smile. We've developed completely isolated systems, protected against any form of electronic warfare. Your pulse weapon is based on technology we discovered and improved upon decades ago. The reflected pulse washed over the Imperial fleet, shutting down their own systems instead. The mighty warships drifted helplessly in space, their crews watching in horror as human vessels surrounded them. Now then, Stone broadcast to the powerless Imperial ships, shall we discuss the terms of your retreat? Or would you prefer to see what else humanity has prepared for unwanted visitors? The silence that followed was deafening. For the first time in its long history, the Empire faced not just defeat, but complete humiliation at the hands of a primitive species. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was anything but primitive. News of the Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The quantum communication networks buzzed with encrypted messages as subject worlds and rival powers processed the unprecedented event. A small, unknown species had not only resisted the Empire but had completely overwhelmed their military might. In the Imperial Palace on the capital world, Emperor Marcus XII sat motionless on his crystal throne, watching the battle footage for the 100th time. His advisors stood in nervous silence, waiting for his reaction. One system, he finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. One single system has done what entire civilizations failed to accomplish in thousands of years. Meanwhile, back in the Sol system, Admiral Stone and Captain Miller coordinated the containment of the defeated Imperial fleet. The massive ships, now powered down and surrounded by human vessels, posed no immediate threat. Their crews had been given a choice: remain confined to their ships under guard or accept temporary internment in the Mars facilities. The Emperor has requested direct communication, Lieutenant Reed announced from her station. They're using their emergency quantum channels. Stone straightened his uniform. Put him through. The holographic image of Emperor Marcus XII materialized in the command center. Despite his obvious anger, there was something else in his expression: curiosity. "You could have destroyed our fleet," the Emperor stated, not bothering with formalities. "Your weapons and defenses clearly outmatch ours. Why didn't you?" "Because we're not like you," Stone replied firmly. "We don't seek conquest or dominion over others. We simply want to be left alone, to develop at our own pace, in our own way." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And yet you possess detailed knowledge of our military capabilities. The Mars artifacts you mentioned, they were warnings from one of our subjected worlds, weren't they?" "Yes," Stone confirmed. "But what matters isn't how we got the information, but what we did with it. While your empire focused on expansion and control, humanity united and innovated. We turned our competitive nature towards solving problems rather than conquering neighbors." As they spoke, Earth's defense systems detected something remarkable. Across the galaxy, other civilizations under Imperial control began testing their boundaries. The news of humanity's successful resistance had sparked hope in countless subjugated worlds. "You've started something you can't control," the Emperor warned. "This defiance will spread. There will be chaos." "Perhaps it's time for chaos," Miller interjected, stepping forward. "Perhaps it's time for change. Your empire's policy of forced integration and technological suppression has stifled innovation and natural development across the galaxy." The Emperor's image flickered as he processed this bold statement. In the background, his advisors could be seen frantically discussing among themselves. "What do you propose?" he finally asked, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer. "A new relationship," Stone replied. "Not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. Earth can serve as a neutral ground for negotiations between the Empire and its current subjects. We can help establish a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than domination. And if we refuse? Then we'll share our defensive technologies with any world that wishes to follow our path to independence," Stone stated matter-of-factly. "Your empire's military advantage would vanish within a decade." The Emperor's face remained impassive, but the slight twitch in his left eye betrayed his unease. The humans had not only defeated his military, they had outmaneuvered him politically as well. "You have one standard galactic week to release our ships and crews," the Emperor declared. "During that time, I will consider your proposal." As the Emperor's image faded, Miller turned to Stone. "Do you think he'll actually consider it?" "He doesn't have a choice," Stone replied. "The galaxy has changed. The age of Imperial dominance is over. The only question is whether they'll accept change gracefully or fight it every step of the way." The Galactic Week passed slowly as humanity maintained its vigilant watch over the captured Imperial fleet. During this time, something unprecedented began to unfold across the galaxy. The spark of resistance that humanity had ignited was growing into a flame. On the Mars Command Center's main display, Admiral Stone and his team watched as reports flooded in through their quantum intelligence network. 3 star systems had already declared their independence from the Empire. Unlike previous rebellions, these systems were implementing defensive technologies similar to Earth's. "They're using our playbook," Miller observed, studying the tactical data. "These systems must have had hidden research programs running for years, waiting for a chance like this." "The Empire's foundation was built on fear," Admiral Stone replied. "Once that fear vanishes, the whole structure begins to crack." Lieutenant Reed's console suddenly lit up with urgent signals. "Sir, we're detecting massive quantum distortions. Multiple Imperial fleets are mobilizing. It's far larger than anything we've seen before." The tactical display shifted to show hundreds of Imperial warships converging on the rebellious systems. The Empire was responding to the growing rebellion with overwhelming force. "They're not heading for Earth," Miller noted with concern. "They're going to make examples of the rebelling worlds." Stone's expression hardened. He had anticipated this response, but the speed and scale of the Imperial retaliation was still shocking. Send an emergency broadcast to all human colonies and outposts. Initialize Protocol Umbrella. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. These weren't weapons or shields, they were something far more important. Earth had been preparing not just to defend itself, but to protect others. Broadcast on all frequencies, Stone ordered. Message to all systems under Imperial attack. The communication officers worked quickly, establishing quantum links with the threatened worlds. Stone stepped forward, his voice clear and determined. To all systems facing Imperial retaliation, hold your ground. Help is coming. Humanity stands with you. With a series of commands, Stone activated humanity's most ambitious project. Quantum tunnels began forming throughout space, creating stable corridors between Earth and the threatened systems. Through these tunnels, human defense technology could be transported instantly to where it was needed most. The Empire's massive fleet approached the first rebellious system, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they found the same advanced defensive systems that had defeated them at Earth. Quantum shields sprouted around planets, automated defense platforms materialized in strategic positions, and AI-assisted fighters emerged from hidden bases. The Empire thought they could isolate and crush each rebellion separately, Miller commented, watching the tactical displays. They never imagined we could project our defensive capabilities across such vast distances. But the true surprise came when the Imperial fleet attempted to retreat. The quantum tunnels had another purpose. They allowed Earth's central defense AI to coordinate resistance across multiple star systems simultaneously. The rebels weren't just fighting independently, they were operating as a single, unified force. Message from the Imperial Palace, Reed announced. The Emperor is demanding immediate communication. The holographic image of Emperor Marcus XII appeared, his face contorted with fury. You dare to interfere in Imperial matters? These are our subjects. No, Stone replied calmly. They are free beings who have chosen their own path. Just as we did. The choice is yours, Emperor. Continue this feudal aggression and watch your empire crumble system by system, or accept the new reality and help us build something better. The Emperor's response was cut short by another series of urgent reports. 5 more systems had declared independence, emboldened by humanity's support. The tide wasn't just turning, it had become a tsunami. You've started an avalanche, the Emperor warned, his voice heavy with realization. No, Stone corrected him. We simply showed the galaxy that the snow was already loose on the mountainside. What happens next is up to you. Emperor Marcus XII sat alone in his private chamber, watching as his empire crumbled. In just 2 weeks, 23 systems had declared independence. His military advisors were in chaos, their strategies useless against the spreading network of human-designed defenses. Your Majesty, his chief advisor, Thomas Gray, entered the chamber cautiously. The Imperial Council demands an immediate session. The noble houses are threatening to withdraw their forces unless decisive action is taken. The Emperor's response was interrupted by emergency alarms. On his personal display, a new crisis unfolded. The Empire's most advanced research facility, hidden in the Centauri sector, had gone dark. Meanwhile, in Earth's Defense Command, Admiral Stone and his team were monitoring the same situation. Their quantum sensors had detected something troubling. The Empire was attempting to recreate humanity's defensive technology, with devastating results. They're trying to force the development of quantum shields, Miller reported, analyzing the incoming data. But without the proper safeguards. His voice trailed off as the implications became clear. Stone immediately opened a channel to the Imperial Palace. Emperor, you must shut down your Centauri research facility immediately. Your scientists don't understand the principles they're dealing with. You dare to give me orders, the Emperor snarled, but fear flickered in his eyes. our greatest minds are perfectly capable of. A blinding flash on the tactical display cut him short. Where the Imperial Research Facility had been, a growing quantum anomaly now pulsed with dangerous energy. Their containment field is collapsing, Lieutenant Reed announced, her fingers flying over her console. The reaction could spread to nearby systems within hours. Stone's face set in grim determination. This is exactly why we developed our technology slowly and carefully. Emperor, your facility has created an unstable quantum cascade. If it's not contained, it could tear apart the fabric of spacetime in that entire sector. The Emperor's arrogance finally cracked. Can you stop it? We can, Stone replied, but we'll need unrestricted access to the sector. And you'll have to evacuate every Imperial ship and station within 10 light-years of the anomaly. For the first time in his reign, Emperor Marcus XII found himself truly powerless. With a single command, he ordered all Imperial forces to withdraw from the Centauri sector. Stone turned to his crew. Initialize the Terminus Protocol. Throughout the Sol system, massive quantum engines hummed to life. These weren't weapons, as the Empire had feared, but tools designed to repair tears in spacetime. Humanity had developed them after their early experiments with quantum technology had revealed its potential dangers. Quantum tunnels established, Miller reported. Terminus units are in position. The operation that followed demonstrated why humanity's technological approach had been so successful. While the Empire rushed to develop weapons, Earth had focused on understanding and controlling the fundamental forces they were dealing with. Multiple Terminus units fired synchronized beams into the heart of the quantum anomaly. The destructive cascade began to slow, then stop, and finally reverse. The tear in spacetime sealed itself under the careful guidance of human technology. As the crisis subsided, the Emperor watched in silence. His empire's greatest research facility had nearly caused a disaster that could have destroyed dozens of inhabited systems. In contrast, humanity had contained the threat with precision and control. Perhaps now you understand, Stone said quietly. This is why we warned you to stay away. This is why we developed our technology carefully, over generations. And this is why the old way of empire building has to end. The Emperor's response was unexpected. He laughed, a hollow, defeated sound. You know what the truly ironic part is, Admiral? We invaded primitive worlds because we thought they needed our guidance. We claimed we were protecting them from their own mistakes. And now you see that true advancement comes from within, Stone finished. It can't be forced or rushed. Each civilization must find its own path. As if to emphasize his point, reports continued to arrive of more systems declaring independence. The Empire's display of weakness, coupled with humanity's demonstration of responsible power, had convinced even more worlds to seek their freedom. 1 month after the Centauri incident, representatives from across the galaxy gathered in Earth's newly constructed space assembly. The massive structure, floating in orbit above the blue planet, served as neutral ground for an unprecedented meeting, the first Galactic Conference of Independent Systems. Admiral Stone stood at the observation deck, watching as ships from both formerly subjugated worlds and imperial territories arrived through designated quantum corridors. Captain Miller joined him, holding a data pad with the latest statistics. 57 systems have declared independence so far, Miller reported. Another 32 are in negotiations with the Empire for autonomous status. It's happening faster than anyone predicted. Stone nodded, remembering their first confrontation with the Imperial fleet. When we sent that warning to stay away, I don't think anyone imagined it would lead to this. The main conference chamber was a marvel of human engineering. A quantum field allowed instantaneous translation between all known languages, while holographic displays showed real-time data from across the galaxy. At the center of the chamber, a massive round table symbolized the equality of all participating worlds. Emperor Marcus XII entered the chamber, but not in his usual spectacular fashion. Gone were the ornate robes and crown of authority. Instead, he wore a simple diplomatic uniform, matching those worn by other representatives. "The Empire has existed for 3,000 years, the Emperor began, addressing the assembly. We believed our way was the only way. We were wrong. The humans showed us that true strength comes not from dominance, but from patience, understanding, and responsible development." The assembly watched in amazement as the Emperor formally announced the Empire's transformation. The old Empire would be dissolved, replaced by a galactic cooperative of independent systems. Each world would be free to develop at its own pace, with guidance, not control, available for those who sought it. Lieutenant Reed, now promoted to commander, approached Stone with an urgent message. "Sir, our deep space sensors are detecting signals from beyond the galaxy's edge. It seems we're not alone in the universe." Stone smiled. This was why humanity's approach had been so important. They had built their civilization on understanding, not conquest. Now, as the galaxy faced the possibility of extragalactic contact, they were better prepared than ever. "Representatives," Stone addressed the assembly, "we face a new chapter in our history. The signals we're detecting suggest there are other galaxies out there, other civilizations far different from our own. The question is, how will we approach them?" The answer came not from the former empire, but from one of the newly freed worlds. Their representative, speaking through the translation field, said simply, "Together. We will face the unknown together." The assembly erupted in agreement. The same quantum technology that had protected their worlds could now serve to unite them in exploration and discovery. Humanity's warning to stay away had evolved into an invitation to grow together. Miller turned to Stone, speaking quietly. "Did you ever imagine, when we sent that first warning message, that it would end like this?" "Not end," Stone corrected him. "Begin. This is just the beginning." As the assembly continued their discussions, Earth's quantum defense network remained vigilant, but its purpose had changed. The shields that once kept threats out now served as bridges, connecting civilizations that had been isolated for millennia. The final act of the assembly was to establish the Galactic Scientific Coalition, headquartered on Earth. Its mission, to ensure that advanced technology would be developed responsibly, with the benefit of all species in mind. From the observation deck, Stone watched ships departing through the quantum corridors, carrying representatives back to their home worlds. Each ship bore a new symbol, a human handprint overlaid with the stars of the galaxy. Below it, in every known language, was inscribed a new message. "Together, we move forward. Together, we grow stronger. Together, we explore the unknown." The warning that had started as "stay away" had transformed into something greater, an invitation to build a future where no civilization needed to stand alone against the darkness of space.